Hey friend, it's episode 355 of the Keto Diet Podcast. Today we're chatting about caring for our pets. Oh, I just love this topic. There are so many signs and symptoms that point to our animals having issues, including allergies, vomiting, aging, just so many things. And today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to support their digestive health, heart health, cognition, inflammation, joint health, skin and coat, their toxic buildup, and so much more, and why it's so important to support their overall health as it relates to their mitochondria and detoxification. An unhealthy liver in pets can affect their immune system, can encourage bacterial infections, cholestasis, endocrine disorders. Glyphosate is a ginormous issue that we don't talk about too much on today's podcast. I know our guest does mention it. Glyphosate is terrifying stuff. I've been researching this more and more in relation to human medicine and just understanding what glyphosate does in our bodies. It's not so good. So I can't imagine it being very good for our animals either. We're talking a little bit about heavy metals and just overall issues that can pop up as we're caring for our animals and how to supplement safely, properly, effectively, with education so you can understand what to go for as it relates to your pets and their care. Ooh, it's a good one. Our guest today, his name is Jed Davis. He's the president of Poli. This is a brand that I've been using since August 2021. They launched, and I got an email about it because I love Cellcore. They're related to Cellcore Biosciences and Microbe Formulas. This is a brand that I use in my one-on-one practice with my clients, specifically for detoxification. Their binders and just their parasite protocols, just everything is just phenomenal. The mold protocols, heavy metals, just everything. And so when I was told that there was now going to be a pet line, I totally freaked out. I couldn't wait to put my dog Coconut on these products. And as Jed and I will talk about in today's episode, it's very important for me to fully try a product before I start recommending it. And in this case, Coconut was along for the ride and she tried it. We took her off of it for a little bit. She got worse. And so we put her back on it. And I'm just so excited to have this be a part of her protocol. There are only a select few of items that I've added to her life that have made a huge difference. Eaton hemp CBD oil being one of them. She will take that stuff until she passes on. And she's promised me it will never happen. I'm kidding. I wish. And Poli and a good dose of coconut oil daily, and she's good to go. So I wanted to have Jed on to chat about their two products, the Renew and Boost products, why they're beneficial, what bioactive carbons are, what fulvic acids are, why their products are different from other things, and really just for you to understand what goes on in the background of pet products. Ugh, it's yucky. So yeah, if you have questions about today's content, you can go to healthfulpursuit.com/contact and ask me. You can catch up on previous podcast episodes and notes from today's show by going to ketodietpodcast.com. Just look for episode 355 while you're on that page. And if you love today's episode and you want to try out Poli, you can go to healthfulpursuit.com/polypet. That's POLI pet. For 25% off, you can use the code HEALTHFUL. That's HEALTHFUL over at healthfulpursuit.com/polypet. Use that code and get 25% off. It's good stuff. I can't wait for you to try it. Okay, let's cut over to today's episode. Hey, I'm Leanne Vogel, and you're listening to the Keto Diet Podcast. I've put together a free 21-page guide on achieving weight loss on your keto diet if nothing is working, as a little thank you for being here today. Grab your free guide at ketoforwomen.com to get the steps you need to overcome the hurdles standing in your way. Hey, Jed, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so glad to have you on the show. This has been a long time in the making.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's good to be here.
Yeah, so I already did your official bio and super fancy, but I'd love for you to just tell all of us in your own words, like who you are, what you do, what lights you up.
Okay. My name is Jed Davis. I live here in Meridian, Idaho. Pretty much my whole life was born here. I've had an interesting career and journey, but a lot of it's media-based and marketing. I had my own company for about 5 years here in the area, and then got recruited over to Microbe Formula's Cellcore. Spent about a year and a half there running their social media and media teams. And while I was there, I'm beyond a dog fanatic. Like, I love dogs so much and pets. I had been at Cellcore for about a month, and I think I asked, so when are we going to do like the pet version of these products? And from there is kind of how the journey to Poli Pet began. So
That's so cool.
yeah.
I'm also a major lover of dogs. We live on a boat, but if we lived on land, I'm pretty sure I would have like 8 Dobermans.
I know it's hard to stop. It's like an addiction, and especially too, because, you always want to foster and you see these dogs. So, but it's exciting to get to work for a company and lead a company that I feel genuinely can make a difference in pets' lives. So even though I can't adopt or have 8 of them like we'd want, it does feel good to be able to help. So
It does completely. We actually had 3 dogs at one point, and Lexi and Pebbles, our 2 eldest, passed away at 17 and 14. I'm amazed that Lexi lasted 17 years,
yeah.
But something with, watching dogs age as an adult, it was my first time. There are so many things that I know now that I would do differently, and just signs and symptoms that popped up that I wasn't thinking, and I trusted, my vet to give me all the information, and I just thought that they knew everything, even though, in my own personal life with my own health, I go to a lot of different people and a lot of different resources for my own health, but I never thought to do that for my animals.
Yep.
Was that kind of your experience as you started working with Cellcore, or had you already known that there were issues?
I knew that there were issues. So, like I said, I've been into dogs forever. And one of my friends growing up, his dad actually had like an outfitting business, and he had anywhere from 30 to 40 dogs at a time. And I was talking to him one day, and basically, long story short, because all he would do is run and have these dogs in the forest, he talked about how when they got old, they never had lumps or bumps or cancer of all his years of having all these dogs. And that really got my mind going. And when I was there, that's when I went and asked Dr. Todd and Dr. J and said, hey, are we going to, get these products out for pets? Is there any plan? Well, it turns out the chief scientist there had been working on pet formulas for probably more than 10 years, right around there. And so we started to do some more extensive testing to get the products ready for market. But it really was this, I personally saw for myself with some of the Cellcore products, and like you said, some products from some different companies, that I was starting to see results and benefits that, according to traditional medicine, shouldn't be happening at my age, and like they were. And so that's when I really got interested on, okay, well, what can we do for dogs? Because as we know, they're often neglected. It's definitely a different world even than with what people go through when they go to see their doctor or practitioner. So yeah, it's been a very eye-opening experience, and we still have a lot to learn, but I think we're making some good progress along the way.
A while back, we received a question on the podcast about keto bars and how easy it is to eat 2, 3, or 4 bars in one sitting. Now, I've thought a lot about this for quite a while, and I too struggled with it, to the point where I couldn't have keto bars in the house because I would eat far too many in place of preparing a proper balanced keto meal. There's some days where a take along with you bar is convenient and at times absolutely necessary. So I started looking for an alternative, something more balanced, and a bar that would deliver nutrients, not just a balance of macros, where my body would be satiated by one and not in search of more and more and more. I think one time I had 6 keto bars in one sitting and I didn't feel so good after. And then I found that very bar. So here are the ingredients in the new bar that I'm now eating, only one of at each sitting. Organic cashew butter, organic tapioca fiber syrup, 100% grass-fed bone broth protein, organic dried apples, organic dates, organic pumpkin seeds, organic superfood blend, which includes organic kale, organic broccoli, organic spinach, organic acerola, organic wild blueberry, organic spirulina, organic ginger, organic turmeric, organic sunflower lecithin, organic cinnamon, organic flavors, Himalayan pink sea salt, organic rosemary extract, and monk fruit extract. Now, this is made with certified organic, if you didn't catch that, organic, antioxidant-rich superfoods, cold pressed, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, non-GMO, contains healthy proteins, fats, and vital nutrients, no added sugars, artificial sweeteners, or sugar alcohols. It's very low in natural sugars at 4 grams or less, depending on the flavor, and it's whole food based. Now, this bar is from Paleo Valley. They call it the superfood bar, and I'm happy to report I eat one and I'm satiated and I move on. No more bar binges. Now, this is huge, 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 huge for me. Head on over to paleovalley.com, load up your cart with superfood bars and whatever else you find that tickles your fancy. Enter the code KETO at checkout and receive 15% off your first order. Again, that's paleovalley.com and use the code KETO for 15% off your first order. That's amazing. And you mentioned cancer. I'm thinking like some other like red flags of, pet owners that are thinking about how can I care for my pets the best possible, like allergies, vomiting, aging. What are some of the things that we should be thinking of as, those red flags of, oh dear, maybe I should do something?
So definitely if they're vomiting. And the trick is with a lot of symptoms, especially with dogs, because they obviously can't speak and communicate with us, is to definitely take a larger, what I would call like sample size of time, right? So obviously, if there's an emergency situation of some symptom happening, you would take them to an emergency vet. But if you just see them extensively scratching or vomiting on one-off situation, you don't necessarily need to make a decision or take action from that, but try and just generally watch, man, I remember last year during the summer, we would go on 5 or 6 hikes a week with our dog. But now this year we're only getting 2 or 3 and she's having to lay down halfway through. Like that's a lot of fatigue and a big difference from one year to the next. So lumps and bumps, a lot of fatigue, not recovering, obesity, if they're gaining a lot of weight, discharge in the eyes, a lot of wax buildup, really any of those things, the coat's not shining as well. There's a lot of telltale signs with our dogs. And just like with ourselves, I usually recommend to people, go with your gut. I feel like I know my dog pretty well and I can just tell when something's off. The problem has been in the past is that people usually don't have very many resources like you were talking about. They need to go out and do their own research. And we're starting to provide more resources for that, but we hope to provide a lot more so that people can start to make really informed decisions about their pets.
That's so key. I remember probably about over a decade now, I decided that I was going to make my own dog food. And at that point, literally nobody was doing it. And it took me months to figure out what to put in it, how to do it. I screwed up so many times, giving them the wrong food. But now, you search that and there's so many options. It's so cool to see different resources available. And, because we're talking about pet supplementation, and I know that humans are fantastic at listening to podcasts like this, hearing something, buying it, using it, and it not being essential for their own health. I'm sure that goes for pets also. What are some of the overall benefits to supplementation? And then my next question is going to be what are the drawbacks or things that we need to kind of be watching for?
Yeah. So we think there's 3 big areas that are key to a pet's health. One is exercise, just like for us. The second is nutrition, what they're getting. And then the third one is supplementation. All 3 kind of need to be dialed in. We recommend if your pet's having health issues, you make sure you can check each one of these 3 off. But the big benefits of supplementation is, like you just mentioned, for the longest time, our nutrition-wise, our pets haven't been getting what they need, right? Some big companies found a very cheap way to create some kibble, and we at some point just accepted that this is what our pets are supposed to eat and that they're going to live and they're fine. I think what we're seeing in these last, few years with the raw feeding taking off and some of the other higher end dog foods is because of that, because our pets have been lacking there. So I definitely recommend supplementation along with good nutrition, just because it is very difficult to know if your dog is getting everything they need. That being said, there's a lot of different kinds of supplements out there, and it's very difficult to know what works for your dog, what doesn't work. Every time we get on social media, like every other ad is like, is your dog excessively itching? Is your dog excessively scratching? Try our chew, it'll fix them. And so it's really tough to know which one's going to work. And then secondly, one problem with pet supplementation is that oftentimes if something works for people, they will go and try and make a pet version of it and just make the same claims, even though it hasn't been tested. One example of this is glucosamine. So they saw success with prescription level glucosamine product for people. It was getting prescribed along with several other prescriptions, and it helps reduce inflammation and increase mobility. Well, somebody then took a lower grade of that same glucosamine supplement, put it in a chew, gave it to dogs, and then said, it'll fix your dog's hips. Well, there's actually no evidence of that. One study showed that less than 5% of that glucosamine can even enter their system. Most of it's getting passed on. But anyone you ask, if you ask them, hey, my dog's hips hurt, what should I do? They're going to mention glucosamine. So we're at a point in pet supplementation where there's a lot of stuff out there that doesn't really do anything. It's probably just getting passed through their system. And then it's very difficult to find the things that actually work. So it is a kind of a weird environment right now. We feel like we're helping lead the future of pet supplementation with our products and the way we're questioning everything and the information we're putting out there. But there's a lot of work to do. So hopefully that helps. I don't know. It's tough. Like the things to watch out for advertising that's just almost too good to be true. It's important to remember that there's a lot less regulations on pet supplementation advertising. So I spent about 10 years advertising supplements and different products on Facebook, social media for other companies. And it was pretty typical when you'd submit an ad, every third one would get denied. You'd have to resubmit it because they said you were making too big of a claim. With Poli Pet, we've been running ads obviously to get the word out, and we haven't had a single one denied. And I even did a test one day. I'm like, I'm going to make a crazy claim on this ad just to see if it'll get approved. I'm not actually going to run it. Anyways, in this ad, I said, our products will make your dog live longer, guaranteed.
What?
And it got approved right away. And that's just crazy to me. Nobody should be able to make those claims at this point, right? I would love to. I wish and I've seen some evidence in different animals that our dogs do help lead, or our pet products do help lead to healthier lives. But the advertising world and pet supplementation is completely different. The rules, the regulations are different. I had somebody on social this morning ask me, are your products FDA approved? And no, they're not, because the FDA doesn't approve or deny pet supplements. It's not part of what they do, but people still use that as a criteria as to whether they should be giving it to their pet. So there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot more leeway for companies to try and take advantage of people. And so you just have to be really careful. We'll keep putting out more and more things to help educate people, but we think the future of pet supplementation looks very different than it does now.
That's just terrifying that you can say something like that, like it's just some crazy claim that you could never, ever say that about. Never with people. Yeah. Human supplements.
Yep.
Like I'm not able to, because I talk about the ketogenic diet, I've been like blacklisted from all advertisements completely.
Yeah.
And that's just terrifying. And also the glucosamine point, we had a German Shepherd and she had a lot of issues with her hips. And that was the first and only supplement that our vet recommended. And we went to 3 different vets across 2 different countries. And all 3 of them said glucosamine. And it was not working, to the point where they were saying, we're going to have to put her down in a couple of weeks. I mean, she's not walking. And I said, this is ridiculous. And so I just put her on CBD oil because I didn't know what else to do. And I thought maybe this would help. And she lived another, I think, 3 years. Yep. And so that was the big turning point where I was like, okay, mama's got to put stuff into her own hands. Otherwise nothing's going to get done. Yeah. And I'm so happy. Oh, go ahead.
And I didn't mean to cut you off. I just, that's It's so tricky what you're saying with the vets, because that's another common question we get. Are your products veterinarian recommended? Well, we have vets we've tested with. They recommend the products. We could put that seal on our bottles if we wanted. My problem is the same companies that are willing to make these crazy claims or promote glucosamine or whatever other product, they're all veterinarian recommended. And so for us at Poli Pet, while we feel very strongly about certain good vets, if it's just white noise, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it just to do it, to say, yes, we're veterinarian recommended. Like, if that means something and it's true, we will do it. Just this last week, I had a pretty well-known holistic vet that I reached out to just to give samples to say, hey, we think our 2 products are making a big difference in pets' lives. We'd love to know what you think, and if you feel like they are actually working and do what they say they do, we'd love to have, your recommendation or review. And all he returned and replied with was a pricing sheet. If I wanted a 2 or 3 sentence recommendation, it was X amount of dollars. If I wanted a video recommendation, it was this many dollars. He didn't even care about getting the product, and that's just crazy to me, like that we live in that world where things can be bought and you can present an image that doesn't actually lead to any benefit.
Yep, it's so true. I was working with a supplement company a while ago, and they were working to get vet recommendations for their product, and they couldn't afford it. Yeah. Like, it was so astronomically expensive for them to get officially vet recommended by a certain association or something like that. Yeah. And that was just, I receive countless emails every week from companies wanting me to promote them. Yeah. And my policy is always, I need to try this product for like a minimum. It depends on the product, but usually about 3 months before I'll even talk about it. Yeah. Like, I might mention it like, hey guys, I'm trying this out. Have you tried it? Let me know what you think. But I never, ever, 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 ever recommend something unless I've used it multiple times. And that's terrifying. Yeah. And I don't think a lot of people understand the grossness of this sort of business and just how deep the rabbit hole goes on. Yeah, just that person probably wasn't even going to try the supplement or try it on pets. They were like, yeah, if you pay me X amount of dollars, I'll share it. And gross, yucky yucks. Yeah,
crazy. Yep. And I can vouch for that. I think I followed up with you about 6 weeks after you first got some of the Poli Pet products, and that was your response. You said, hey, it's going great, but I need some more time. And I said, oh, that's awesome. That's cool. So you really do take your time, which is important, I think, for anyone listening to know that there are definitely people that the moment we launched, they were ready to vouch and to share, which, we appreciated the sentiment, but we do truly believe these products are different, that they have a different science and a different purpose. And that's what we want to be the end game, not just a quick buck or a quick sale. Like, that doesn't matter to us. We want to actually improve the lives of pets.
Hemp Hearts. Let's first talk about why they are so unique in a class of nuts and seeds. Well, they're actually considered a seed, and how they make the perfect addition to your diet. Hemp Hearts are rich in fats, but not just any fats, the good, healthy ones. The ones you want to fill your diet with to help reduce inflammation, support joint health, and balance hormones. Hemp Hearts have 6 times the omega-3 of raw tuna, 4 times the omega-3s as most fish oil supplements, and they're rich in fiber, promoting gut health and helping aid digestion. They're also a rich source of plant-based protein, containing 10 grams of protein per 30-gram serving. What's unique about Hemp Hearts is, unlike many plant-based protein sources, they contain all 20 amino acids and all of the 9 essential amino acids, making Hemp Hearts one of the best plant-based protein sources, or if you ask me, the best. Hemp Hearts are rich in micronutrients such as iron, magnesium, B vitamin, zinc, vitamin D, vitamin E. It's said to be nature's multivitamin as it contains high daily value percentages of those micronutrients. Also, for women struggling with hormone health, which is basically every one of us, it also contains GLA, which is extremely healthy for women's hormones. You can go to eatonhemp.com/keto diet. Use the code Keto Diet, all in caps, for 25% off. These are the best of the best hemp hearts that exist, guys, because they're backed by a 30-day money back guarantee. If you don't like it, you get your money back. And this company rocks. So if you go to eatonhemp.com/keto diet, use the code Keto Diet, all in caps, for 25% off. Give them a try and let me know what you think. Again, if you don't like them, just contact them and you will get your money back. Yes, completely. And I can't wait to kind of like share a little bit about my dog Coconut's experience. I'm very in tune with her. It's incredible how tight our bond is. Perhaps you can relate.
Yeah.
I know when things are different for her almost instantly. She's such a good communicator. And so it's been really fun. She's such a great dog to try these sorts of things on because she communicates very quickly as to what's working and what's not. And it's just, she's such a blessing. So we're totally going to get to that.
Okay.
I also wanted to kind of pick your brain on the whole studies piece and kind of what you guys are doing in that area and how Poli Pet is different from other brands, like what we've been talking about in relation to studies and making sure that your product is safe.
Yeah, the study side is a tricky one. So, well, I shouldn't say tricky. Maybe that's not the word, but it's interesting to know what people's perceptions are or criteria are for the studies. So I can say that Poli Pet products have been tested and researched on various pets, dogs, cats, and some livestock animals for more than 10 years. In the last year and a half, we've done much more extensive research and testing, specifically on dogs and cats. We wanted to get to as many dog breeds, cats, as we could. And so we spent a pretty sizable amount of money. Those studies aren't published at the moment, so we don't necessarily share them publicly. And that's honestly kind of goes back to some of that toxicity that's in the medical supplement world right now. Most of the people that ask for our studies, sadly, are the ones that just want to take it down so they can prove us wrong because they're threatened on a business model level that we're going to take some of their pie or something. So, and then we've also just found, just as you would expect with, humans, there's a lot more regulations, double-blind, placebo studies, right? All the different stuff. Not so much in pets. Unfortunately, most of the studies and research that companies do right now is they push the dosage until they see some adverse effects, and then they find a suitable dosage that they think won't harm or kill your pet, and then they start to sell it. So there's a big hot topic right now about actually Dr. Fauci. Have you seen this in the last week?
I have.
Pretty crazy.
I know.
Yeah, that's just sad. Some really inhumane testing being done that's harming a lot of dogs, beagles. So it just goes to show you that unfortunately most of the pet supplementation world right now follows the money trail, and we've already we aren't afraid to question anything or anyone. We don't care if you're a government, if you're a company, big, small, whatever. We genuinely we feel our obligation is to dogs and cats everywhere, and that's what we're going to chase after to the best of our ability. So we do have some pretty big studies planned for next year that we are going to conduct in a way that, we'll definitely be sharing them publicly. So that's kind of where we're at with studies at the moment. It's been tricky. We were already thought to be doing a few more right now, but again, we ran into a lot of weird situations. And even the studies, these independent third parties that conduct a lot of the studies, that's been our challenge, is to find one that we actually feel is trustworthy. Again, you can pretty much pay to get whatever outcome you want from an independent third party, which is just crazy. It shouldn't be that way.
Isn't that just crazy? That's insane. And so your product line is made up of two products right now, the Renew and the Boost.
Yep.
Why these two? As somebody who's been using Cellcore in their practice for quite some time, love, like with the biggest smile on my face, love Cellcore. Why these two products? We're going to get into like ingredients and those sorts of things, but why these two as it relates to pet health and where you see the most issues with pets?
So we thought we would start with these two products. For one, in our testing, the dogs and cats showed the most benefit from them. And they were also the two that we knew we could get to market the quickest, the soonest. For example, We're working on a very unique probiotic, but it's probably not going to come out till next year. So rather than wait, we decided that these two products were the most important for pets because Boost restores mitochondrial health. So as we all learned in science growing up, right? Mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell. Well, when we're born, they produce a lot of energy, ATP, and they're very good at it. As we grow and pets grow, we get sick. Those mitochondria basically switch into defense mode, battleship mode. They don't always switch back very easily. So what Boost does is it helps your cat or dog, their mitochondria, switch back into energy production mode. Now, this isn't energy like stimulant energy where you would get hyper from a person would from caffeine or something. But this energy helps their cells heal and be able to repair. So this is why when a dog or cat's been on Boost for a while, something like cloudy eyes will actually start to get clear and bright again because we're providing cellular health to wherever their body needs it, full body energy from the cells. The second product is Renew. So Renew is a binder. Anyone not familiar with binders, you probably heard of activated charcoal. So the concept is that these products will go in and bind to whatever bad, toxic, poisonous chemical or element is in your body, and then it will remove it as you go to the bathroom. The thing that we've found a lot of success with is our bioactive carbon technology. So our binder is a bit different. Basically, activated charcoal is kind of like when you look at a fireplace and the fires burn out. It's already activated. The energy's already spent. So with our bioactive carbon technology, our binder has what we call short, medium, and long chain carbons that bind to all sorts of different kinds of toxins and harmful elements, and I'll pull them out. Cellcore's, I think, from what I've seen, known as the best binder available, and now we feel that Poli Pet has that for dogs and cats. So those are our two products.
That's awesome. And I'll kind of just explain Coconut's experience using both the Renew and Boost. We started her on it a couple of months ago now, like when you guys first launched. And we're recording this podcast episode in November. It's not going live until February. So the timeline's going to be way off, but she's been on it a couple of months. And I noticed within a couple of weeks that she was developing this waxy substance on her coat. Like it was disgusting. And her coat felt completely like sticky and yucky. And I was like, okay, we're just going to hold on. We're just going to keep going. And then within a day shift, her coat got so smooth and so wonderful.
It's cool.
It's so different. Like people comment on her coat constantly now. And I'm just wondering, maybe I can pick your brain, what that maybe reaction could have been where it was like wax.
Yeah.
It was the strangest thing. Thoughts?
It's definitely like a toxin buildup of some sort. It's difficult to know without actually testing it. So I don't want to make assumptions, but we've seen that pretty regularly with the coats. We were actually surprised when we started like really testing these about a year and a half ago. Because that wasn't our intention. We were trying to get to the root cause of illness or cancer or big diseases, right? And help these pets. But all of a sudden the coats are like the most shiny we'd ever seen. So basically, I think it has to do with the dogs and cats, their drainage pathways and wherever they have buildup. And so for your dog, obviously their coat and down below that had buildup, and with the products helped remove that. So yeah, without testing it, I don't want to make an assumption, but we see that a lot, whether it's their ears, their eyes, even their paws. We've seen secretions. It's pretty crazy.
I really hope you're enjoying today's episode. I'd love to see where you're listening from. You can snap a pic and tag me at Leanne Vogel or leave a review for the show on your favorite podcast player. It helps me out tremendously. Okay, back to the good stuff.
Wow. And you know what? That is thinking of drainage pathways, humans have a weak drainage pathway. For me, it's definitely my bowels. For other people, it's their lymph, and it goes on and on.
Mm-hmm.
But I know for Coconut, ever since Lexi and Pebbles passed away, she's had a lot of issues with her skin.
Mm-hmm.
She had just this crazy bout of lice and then fleas and all these crazy things that had never happened before. And it was all to do with her coat.
Mm-hmm.
So we were, watching her coat change, like, oh dear, I hope this doesn't go sideways, because oh man, to have a dog that's had all these skin issues and hair issues and just so many issues, it's been such a change for her. And I guess my next piece, I definitely want to drill down on the Renew and just dogs living in a different environment, like a mold environment, or their propensity toward being subjected to heavy metals. Where do you see the Renew playing a role in all of that?
So Renew is just extremely effective at binding onto and helping them remove all of those toxins. So our dogs and cats absorb most of their toxins, most of these harmful things, through their paws. That's what makes it so tough, because, unless you live on a boat, they're probably going out into the grass and going to the bathroom or roaming around, doing whatever they're doing. So it's very difficult to prevent all of the toxic absorption that can happen. That being said, for a fact that they've been exposed to mold, whether in your house, some other setting. First step is to remove them from that and yourself. Supplements like Renew are great at removing that, but ideally we want to eliminate as much as possible from even going into the body, which, before we end, we should talk about some of the other products we have coming up. We have some pretty cool stuff. But our dogs and cats absorb 7 times as many toxins and 50 times as much glyphosate as the same person would in that same setting. So that's a lot more. So that's part of the reason why Renew is so effective, is sadly our cats and dogs, for the most part, have a lot more toxins and heavy metals in their system than people do, which is why when you first start on the products, you'll see that some of those, I wouldn't call them herxing per se, but those that aren't experienced in human detox, it'll seem a bit foreign to you to see your dog push out some of these things from different places, but it's actually pretty normal as part of that process of detoxing their body and clearing out things. And it can even show up in a waxy substance on their fur. It's very different for each pet. But Renew has really been, I would say life-changing already for a lot of dogs. We see just a ton of different benefits. For so long, all these underlying toxins and heavy metals haven't been removed from our pets' bodies. They just accumulate throughout their whole life until they get a disease or so many lumps and bumps that they can't do anything and they pass. Now we have something to help them. We've seen great results in senior pets especially, but we also recommend it, from as early as 6 weeks on from puppies and kittens. So yeah, that's pretty much where we're at with it. We have the next couple products that are coming out are going to really start to fill out the complete picture for Poli Pet and taking care of our pets. So we're pretty excited about those.
Oh, I can't wait to ask you about that. And I guess before we move on to that piece, you did say, taking quite early on in life. Are these supplements that should be taken throughout the dog's life, or is it only for a season? Like I know with Cellcore, we often use them in a phased protocol to achieve a certain outcome depending on what people are carrying alongside them, which is all the funky stuff like parasites, one of my most favorite topics.
Yep.
But, as we're taking care of our pets, is this an ongoing supplement, or how are we using it long-term for their overall health?
Yeah, we recommend it ongoing. During our testing and research, we tried lots of different cycling in different intervals. And honestly, the animals seemed to thrive the most when they stayed on the product. And again, going back to everything they're exposed to, it's so tough to truly protect them from all of that. And so, unfortunately, they're probably going to continue to acquire heavy metals and toxins during different periods of their life. And that's why we just recommend ongoing at this point.
Yeah, that's great. I took Coconut off for a couple of weeks just to see things. And I started to notice a couple changes that I didn't like. And so we went back on it a couple of weeks ago, and I'm so happy she's back on it. It's always nice, as you're introducing something new, I like to titrate up. And then as we're finishing a product, I'll remove it a little bit and see how she does. And she loves it, like she doesn't notice. I'm kind of weird about her food. We've developed this protocol that works really good for her, where I mix in her food with a bunch of water. And if there's not coconut oil in it, she will not eat her food. She loves coconut oil like crazy. And then the Boost and the Renew and her little fish oil capsule. And then at night she takes some CBD, which totally levels her out. And she just does really well on that. But yeah, to kind of come up with that different mixture that works well for your dog, I think is so incredibly fantastic. And you hope they live forever and ever and ever and ever. Oh, that's good. What other products are you guys thinking about? I know you mentioned a probiotic. Any plans on like parasitic stuff or dewormers, or what you got for us?
So there are plans for parasitic products. So I'm not sure how well your audience knows, but Cellcore was founded by Dr. Todd and Dr. J. Dr. Todd's known as the parasite guy for people. That's his thing. He's a parasite guru. Anyways, long story short, we will have a parasite product, but he has a high standard of perfection, which we really appreciate. And so it's probably not going to be till late next year till we have a pet version available. The next one is pretty cool, as we talked about. So pets absorb most of their heavy metals, toxins, all these things through their paws. We actually have a balm coming out that will help protect and remove and repair their paws so that they don't absorb as many heavy metals and toxins through their paws. So we're really excited about that one. It'll have bioactive carbon technology in it as well. And getting pretty close on that one. We've got another one, hip joint supplement, and that one will be the first pet supplement for hips and joints that doesn't contain glucosamine that is really, really effective. We're really excited about it. So those are, the products that we can speak to right now. But as I alluded to earlier, even like with the probiotic and stuff, we don't want to put out products just to put them out with our logo on them because we know people would buy them, right? We want them to truly be unique in the space. And for example, if our probiotic doesn't get to a point to where we feel it has a unique advantage over all the other probiotics out there, it probably won't come out. Any of the products that you see come out on Poli Pet will be unique and unmatched in the pet supplement world. That's pretty much our standard.
And that's so amazing. I'm so incredibly thankful that we connected and that coconut is on your supplements. And
it's exciting.
Having taken her off for a little bit and kind of seeing, because she's my little guinea pig, she'll definitely be on it for life, without a doubt. Yay. Seeing that change and all the issues she had previously, it's just such a pivotal part. And yeah, thank you so much. I love her to bits, and I would literally do anything for this dog.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm happy she's doing awesome on him.
Yeah, it's so good. And for those listening who want to check out Poli Pet, we put together a link for you guys. It's healthfulpursuit.com/polypet. That's POLI pet. And when you use the code healthful, that's HEALTHFUL, you can get 25% off your order. I'll include links in the show notes because that's a lot of spelling and things. So if you guys get overwhelmed, just look in the show notes. All those details will be there. And yeah, Jed, thank you so much for coming on the show today and just sharing your love of animals and the work that you're doing. And yeah, thanks for your dedication. And I know that a lot of people are going to benefit from this, and a lot of pets are going to be happy.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was a great experience.
I hope you really enjoyed our conversation with Jed today. I was not paid to promote his product. I just really love it. If you use my link, I do get a cut of the sales at no cost to you. It's an affiliate link. You can go to healthfulpursuit.com/polypet. Use a code healthful, all in caps, for 25% off. And I just love being able to share these awesome products with you guys. I take this stuff so seriously. I hope that if you try it, it was beneficial for you and your animals. And if you have any issues, you can always reach out to me, healthfulpursuit.com/contact. I love hearing from you guys, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Okay, bye. Thanks for listening to the Keto Diet Podcast. Join us again in a couple of days to discover more keto for women secrets for your fat-fueled life. Music for the Keto Diet Podcast provided by Yechi. Follow Jacob on Instagram at Yechi_official and on Spotify as Yechi. That's YECHI. The Keto Diet Podcast, including show notes and links, provides information in respect to healthy living, recipes, nutrition, and diet, and is intended for informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor is it to be construed as such. We cannot guarantee that the information provided on the Keto Diet Podcast reflects the most up-to-date medical research. Information is provided without any representations or warranties of any kind. Please consult a qualified physician for medical advice and always seek the advice of a qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding your health and nutrition program.